Good morning. We are off to somewhat of an early start. We just dropped Danica off at school. It's not our day to drop her off because we do carpool, but since she waited until last night to finish her book report, only to find out that she could not remember where her paper was with all the instructions. She couldn't complete it last night. So I gave her three choices. She could turn in what she had done so far, she could not turn in anything, or she could try to remember it from what she had already read on the paper. And of course she was really upset, but this is one of those tough lessons for her and me, because I'm one of those parents who have always tried to make everything better, which I realize has probably kicked me in the butt, because it teaches them that I will always try to make everything better. Emma, share with her. And they need to know that, you know, they have responsibility, and they need to hold themselves accountable just as much as I do. And I told her about 2 weeks ago that when she was done reading the book, that she needed to start on the book report. And she waited and waited and waited, and I told her, you know, this past weekend was going to be really busy, and for whatever reason, it just still didn't get done. And so I don't know if she's going to be able to get it done this morning. She is my hard child for remembering things. It's a struggle, that's for sure. I love her to pieces, and she is one of the most fun-loving, kind little girls you have ever met. But when it comes to sticking to what you're supposed to do and getting things done and finishing it, you know, all the way, she's not very good at that. But Tommy and Emma and I are heading to Walmart for a few things. One, which is a big girl chair for Emma, because she doesn't really want to sit in her high chair anymore. She wants to sit in the booster like her brother. So we're going to try to help make that work. But I figured I would take a few minutes and share a few things about me. I lived in Oregon for the first part of my life, and then I moved to Alaska to live with my mom. My dad lived in Oregon, and when I was 14, I moved to Alaska, and I stayed there, and I finished high school, and I put myself through college, and graduated with a degree, almost a degree and a half. But I was pregnant with Solana the last semester. Well, I was pregnant with her for more than that, but she was going to be born immediately right after the last semester of school. So at one point I took 21 credits so that I could be done, all the while still working a full-time job, being very pregnant, and also helping take care of my ex's son. So it was a busy time, but in 2010, I lost both my parents and my grandpa. My dad died February 20th of 2010. His dad, my papa, passed away 4 days after that. So I wasn't able to go to my papa's funeral or anything because I was busy taking care of things for my dad. My mom passed away May 11th of 2010 in Alaska. My dad was in Oregon. Both passed away at home. I was there when my mom passed away. All her children were. Most of her children were. She has 6 children. It was a really hard time for me. as you can see, it's still a struggle for me. My children were so young. I felt like I was still very young. Couldn't tell you how old I was because I don't even remember how old I am now, but it was a struggle, and I fought depression. I went through days and weeks without sleeping. I didn't know sometimes like what was reality and what wasn't, because of the lack of sleep. I went through the day doing my routine because I still had to work and I still had to take care of my kids, and at that point I ran a daycare during the day at home and I worked at nights, and so the routine was still there, which is probably what kept me sane, but it still is a hard time. I struggle with the fact that my husband never met my parents. I struggle with the fact that my babies never met my parents. And everyday struggles, you know, everyone says it gets better in time, but I have a hard time with that because it just seems like it gets harder because, you know, I have another baby and my mom wasn't there, and, you know, and then I had another baby and my mom still wasn't there, and she was there by my side when I had the first two, and my dad was there but hiding behind a curtain for the first, and then came shortly after for the second. And my dad would always call me when I was at work at night because I worked 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. and he would call me and he'd just sit there and talk, and sometimes not make any sense, especially when it got to the end of, or towards the end of his life. He really struggled on even being able to dial phone calls, and he'd always call the day after our birthdays and wonder why we didn't remind him that it was our birthday. So that is, I guess, probably one of my biggest struggles in life, is knowing that my parents aren't here, and knowing that there's so much that they missed out on and that I missed out on. I can say that it has gotten a little bit easier since we have joined the church and learned what we have learned, which I still have a lot more to learn, but you know, and knowing that we will see them again, knowing that we will be with them in eternity, and in fact, I've already done all the temple work except for sealing of them. And this Saturday, Tom and I, along with a couple really good friends who some are standing in for my mom, but we are sealing my parents together so that they can be together, and then we're sealing me to them so then I know that I will be with them again. This is one of those tough things that I've been through in my life, but it helps to know that, and it helps to have the amazing support that I have from my husband. And you know, my kids are pretty cool too. You say hi, Tommy. Are you done? So it's one of those that everyone grieves differently, and I don't know if grieving ever goes away. So far, you know, we're going into 7 years, and there's not a day that goes by that I don't think of my parents. And I'm sure I'm just rambling right here because this is what happens when I start talking about my parents. But just one. But and it's okay that you're grieving, and if anyone is out there and is struggling with this, please don't ever let anyone tell you that you need to stop grieving, because it's your life, it's your everyday, and losing somebody you love, no matter who it is, affects your everyday. It affects every memory, and you just have to remember that they are there with you every minute of the day, just not where you can touch them and talk to them and see them. But that's a very important thing to remember that many times I've forgotten, but I try to remind myself. But so there's a little tidbit into part of my life, and yeah, I'm hoping that if nothing else, this helps somebody out there that is watching this. And we will chat later.
Yeah.
What are you doing, Danica? That is not going to be a picture.
No, you won't.
Hold on, that's not going to be a good direction.
Yeah.
Holy moly.
Here, jump! Yeah, you put that on a video, they're going to be like, never mind. Your chairs are comfy.
Okay, you ready, Tommy? 1, 2, 3, jump!
He's like in there! He can't even get out.
Okay, I'm jumping on you, Tommy. I'm coming next. He's like, okay,
He's
whatever.
like, no.
Jump rock!
Okay, Danica, so stay right there. We're going to get this on film. I'm going to jump on you from here.
Emma, go over to my mommy.
Emma, come here.
Hold on. Mommy,
Hey, where'd your sock go?
She took it off in the van
I need some
about 10 seconds after it
Taco
came out.
time, you?
Taco Day? Taco Tuesday?
Whatever you want to call it.
Taco Tuesday, except for on a Friday. Wait, how's that go, Logan?
Taco Tuesday! No,
Okay.
Freedom Friday! But still on a Tuesday!
If you lose your life during this, I'm sorry.
Okay, come on.
Well, I don't think I can really jump on her from here.
Come on from down here.
All right,
love you guys.
Hold on.
Taco Tuesday!
Okay.
Let's go, Preston. Let me jump on up. Yeah.
Brock, if those two little kids get sick, I'm going to be mad at
Okay,
you.
here we go.
Okay,
Preston,
watch
watch
out,
out.
Preston.
My face.
Not your face.
I'll tuck under here because I gotta hold it.
Here we go.
Are you still alive?
How you doing?
She's dead.
You look dead.
You talk still when you're dead?
Yeah.
That's pretty
That was
talented.
worthless.
I'm dying. My God.
Whatever.
I hurt my knees the first time.
But a big fluffy pillow and you still hurt your butt.
Whoa.
Jeez, too close calls. You guys trying to get rid of Emma or something? You guys had this boy plan?
No, it's Emma.
No, it's
Like always, never forget that we care about you.